Welcome to another episode of Real BMX Racing, the podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by the BMX Connect, Answer That Squared, Wrenchman Racing, Eddie's Blocks, 110% Nutrition, Extreme Squared, with a special shout out to Toby Henderson over there at Box Components. Today, we have one of the fastest female riders in the 1720X USA BMX, and her name is, Grecia Cristodulo.
You got it.
What's up?
Hey.
I know I chopped your name up. You got to let us know how to pronounce it so we can move forward on this.
Grecia Cristodulo.
Grecia.
Grecia. All right, good. You know, I didn't want to go by USA BMX's announcements sometimes because they kind of chop people's names up all the time. So I was like, you know what?
I got lots of pronunciations for it, so I'm used to all of them, not gonna lie. So y'all good.
Do you ever correct them?
No, it is what it is. I was like, okay, like I got called like Grecia, Grisha. Even got to a point where this person called me Grisaya. I don't know how they got Grisaya, but yeah. But I mean, all of them are good. Yeah.
Right, you're like, that's me. So, all right, well, welcome to the show. Basically, we're just gonna ask some questions to get to know you.
Oh, yeah.
Our very first question is going to be coming from Shannon. Take it away.
And as always, how did you get started in BMX?
So I started when I was 4, and this was back in my country where like we had this very tiny track like 10 minutes away from my house, and my brother was actually riding before me. So I would just go to his practices with my mom, and then I had this group of girls, like I was only 4, and then they were all also from BMX. And then every single time, like we were playing, and then they had to go back to the track, I will stay in the benches by myself. And I got tired of that, so I told my mom I want to be with them. And that's how they got me a bike, and I started practicing with my friends, and then that's how I got into a sport.
So you started with a pedal bike?
No, it was just straight without wheels, and then just shoot me straight to the gate. No, I had no fear of nothing. I was full on it. Yeah.
Nice. So you said you started in your country. Where is your country?
I was born in Bolivia, so I was living there till 11. I moved to the U.S. when I was 11. Okay. So I started in Bolivia in a very small town called Montero in Santa Cruz. So yeah.
I'm gonna nod like I know where that's at.
South America.
Right.
So when you came to America, where did you come? What state were you in? What state did you?
My first national was Grants, but I've been to the U.S. before. I came for the 2017 World Championships, and that same year, later on in November, I came for the 2017 Grants. That was my first ever national. Really big, yeah.
Right. You showed up to the show.
Yeah, my difficulties. I remember. I think I couldn't race rock, of course, but for grants, I missed my semi for class because I didn't understand how the staging works. Because I was moto like, oh, you're moto 298, and then I'm like, which shoe do I go to? And I missed my moto, but I got second in open, and I was happy with that.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your home track when you came to the States?
DeSoto. After being in Tulsa for the weekend, I came to Texas, and I stayed with a couple of families, and DeSoto was my first home track, and it's still my home track.
Oh, really? Cool.
So you've been riding all over the United States. Which one would you say is your favorite track?
Oof, got a lot. I got a lot. Probably Rock Hill.
There it is.
I mean, I love like the new builds up they got every couple of years. They're really good, and especially this one. It's challenging, but I love the challenge of the tracks, and of course Rockstar, it's Rock Hill and Rockstar.
Yeah, that one looks like a fun one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it, think it's dangerous, but it's a supercross track. Like, that's what you should be expecting, So
right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we forget how fortunate we are to be so close to Rock Hill, because like you know how it is. You have something that's right there. You just it's just Rock Hill.
Right.
But most people say that's like one of their favorite tracks to race.
Yeah.
One of the things I was also going to ask you too is which one would you say is the most wherever, no matter where you raced at, which one was the most difficult technical track for you?
I already know the answer. It's Hardesty. I think has been one of the really difficult ones for me. Not really because of their first straight or their third or the rhythm, mostly because of their second one. They got three big jumps that you're like are forced to jump in. If you miss one, you gotta make it up for the second one, however you can. So I remember the first time I went to it was really hard. I was very good at skills, but this one was very challenging for me. And I haven't tried the pro set yet. And but I think it's gonna be also hard. It seems pretty big for me because I have that view for different, like pros, like 8 meter hills. I'm like,
Right.
oh, this is shorter. Oh, Rockstar is more steeper, and then I get my own opinions about it.
There
But
we
yeah.
go.
hmm
So are you a jumper?
Yeah, more like a jumper. I'm really tiny. I'm only 5'2", so I'm not really good at, you know, uh gaining speed while manually. So
So you just jump it.
mhm.
So I want to ask you is how old were you when you started jumping?
Around 10 or 11. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Okay. One of the things is when you're racing. So one of the things I want to ask you is when you're in the gate. What are one of the things that you do? Do you listen to the sound, or do you watch for the beat? Watch
I
for the
watch for
beat.
the Yeah. I try to listen, but I can't. I don't know how people do it. And then I got used to the watching the lights when I was really young. So yeah. And it's easier for like slow gates. You know where to go, and it changes the whole view of it instead of listening. I think it just stays the same. I don't know.
Do you like those new gates that they're using, like the ones that use the grands that are really really fast?
Yeah, I think it would have been better if they had like a different grip at the bottom because of the sand that we got
Mm.
on the track and the other riders. But I like it. It's pretty fast. Yeah. It's pretty scary when you get on it though, because it's like only one single thing, and I don't know if yours is gonna drop or.
Right.
We talked about that all the time when they first introduced it, and then I sat there and watched all the paddles as I was coming up to practice,
Yeah.
and it's, they all swear that they all drop the same, but yeah, it kind of makes you think.
Mhm.
So in that so you're basically like number 4 in NAG right now, and all the points are really really close. Are you kind of nervous going into this last race? Like anything can happen, or are you just like I'm just going to run my course? Like how do you feel about it?
About grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start my grants pretty challenging. I got the night 5 challenge on Friday night, so of course I'll be, I guess, with some, mostly because of my age, of the 1720, which are JC Moore, Ava Corley, Kira Boosted. They're really fast riders, and I'm we're gonna see how it's gonna go. I think we all have our weaknesses, and I'll have like our strongest move in the track. So I'm believing in myself. I feel confident in myself. I think I'm gonna do a really good job with it. It's about being confident going into a race. Don't overthink anything. Just you work for this. So there's nothing you have to question yourself about. Yeah,
So what are your strengths in riding?
turns.
Okay.
Yeah, my moves and turns. I mean, I try to work on my first straight, but I'm still, struggling with my sprint, gaining a lot of, passing people already in the first straight. I have really good gaits, but my turns are what people get more scared of because I come out of nowhere. There's so many. They're like, "Where did you come from?" There's space in between me, and then you just came out of nowhere. So turns and third straight are my biggest one.
Nice.
Mhm.
So you talk about turns. I've watched a lot of Drew Polk because I just love the way he's in turns. I mean, he comes out the gate sometimes. He knows he doesn't have the best gate against some of the riders, and you could just tell he doesn't panic. he just keeps it nice and comfortable. He's looking around, trying to figure out like where the hole is at, and then boom, he just goes for it, and he usually gets it. It's just I've tried to ride like that. Just try to be comfortable and don't worry. Just kind of just stay calm, and like your chance will come. Just keep looking for it.
Yeah, I wish I could stay calm, but like you're risking, you either risk it all or you just don't go for it. You just back up. So I risk it all. If we go down, we go down. Then then the
I
trophies
love it.
plus. So that's how it works.
Okay, so then with that being said, what would you say your biggest injury has been so far?
Just concussions. I think
Just concussions.
thing yet. I haven't broken anything yet in my whole BMX career, but
Nice.
my first ever concussion was when I was 11. It was in New Mexico, or 12. It was 12. Yeah, I was 12. It was in New Mexico, and we had this like sandstorm inside the track, and they didn't stop the gate. They just kept on going. I still remember that all the 7 riders had goggles except me, so I couldn't see anything coming out. So I was just riding with my eyes like barely closed. And then the wind was very strong that it pushed me going into the second one where I landed with my whole head. So
Ooh.
I woke up like around 3, 4 hours later. And my parents told me that the first thing I said when I woke up was, "What happened?" I don't remember anything. Or I also said that, "Is the race finished?" That I already raced. But that's all I remember. I remember a little bit when I woke up and I went to the trainer bed to being checked, but that's all. I That was one of my biggest. Then we went to my second one was in Rockstar, and I was manualing the big jump that goes into the first turn, the big step table,
Mhm.
and I manualed it, and that was a bad choice of manualing. And I was just coming from a national from Florida, so I was 20-hour drive and then straight to practice. I was so I looked out, landed on the asphalt of the turn, and I also got a concussion there. That was my second biggest, and then my third was recent. It was last year, also in New Mexico, same track.
Wow.
And yeah, I also had a big one when I was younger, when I was 10, or no, 8. When I was 8, it was in my home. It was in my home country in Bolivia,
Okay.
and I was coming down the gate, and the first jump was shooting you up, and I didn't hit my brakes, so I went over my bars, and then the piece, like since my whole visor broke, I landed my whole face. The visor broke, and the small piece got almost inside my eye, and I still have the scar right under like my bottom lashes. It was crazy, but it was a nice experience because after I was to the hospital, they put a band-aid to my dad. Was like, "Do you want to race?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I won the national after that with just one eye.
That's crazy.
Fearless.
Right? I'm like, you didn't even hesitate or nothing, just went back out there and just did it
Yeah,
again.
I was only 8 years old.
Right?
So maybe not remembering the crash is what helps you, just keep going forward, because and the thing is, being fearless, I'm sure the other riders know that, and they might change the style of riding. They might not be as aggressive because they know you're more aggressive,
Oh yeah, they know it. They definitely know it. You can feel it. As long as they see me, it's like, oh, or she's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you made a decision whether or not you are going to go pro next season, or are you going to continue to race in the 1720?
This is my last year as an amateur. This is going to be my last Grand, so 1720.
Mhm.
I'm already jumping into the big races. I started in Kentucky and Rock Hill. Those were my first 8-meter hill races, and then from now on next year should be my only pros race because I got the worlds and I'm doing the junior woman. Yeah.
So when you're racing worlds, you're racing for your home country, or you're racing for?
Yeah, I'm gonna be racing for Bolivia.
Okay.
Or my status doesn't apply. I can't apply as a USA BMX rider. So I have to race for my country, and I'm giving them hope. That's what I'm focusing on hope. I mean, focusing on, because Bolivia really didn't have lots of pro riders that will be on the top podium spots, but I'm one of them. I want to give them hope, and then right now every single post I post on my social media, we all use the hashtag we back to dreaming, because since it's a very small country, not a lot of riders get known. We're also not very known. I mean, not a lot of people know where Bolivia is, so that's what I'm raising for them. And I mean,
Awesome.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
So what was like your biggest surprise when you jumped in to race some of these pros on the 8-meter hill? Like, did they surprise you, like how fast they were, or just how skilled they were, or was it just like whatever, they just riders just like me, and I'm just gonna go do my thing and try to beat them?
Yeah, I mean, since I can't really get out of the country to like look at older girls and the levels and how they are, I got Ava as one of my, riders I can, compare myself to see how she is and how the other riders are. So I think Rock Hill was the first one I realized it had a lot of level, and then especially because of the UCI, world champion, Veronica. So I saw myself in a little bit in the back, and then yes, that's when I realized, wow, these girls are actually fast from this big hill, and it makes you, like push yourself more and then do better for the next one. So yeah, it was a big change. I at Kentucky, I didn't really see it is until Sunday, of course, because of the UCI. But yeah, these girls are fast, and but a lot could happen in the track.
You know what blows my mind is that I went to Grands last year for the first time, and so I've seen some of the pro riders, some of the newer pro riders, females.
Mhm.
And a lot of you guys are 5'2", 5'3", 5. I mean, you're tiny, like 120 pounds maybe, and I mean, just fast as hell though. It just blows my mind. I saw Mackenzie Gayhart like for the first time, I think, in person, and I just was so surprised how small she was, and I just didn't know. And then to come to find out, like Lexus Colby and you, and your old guys around 5'2", 5'3". You're tiny, but just muscles and just
Yep.
strong and
Yeah,
skilled. It's
I
just
was
I
like,
love
yeah, you got
watching
to
you
cut
guys
down that
ride.
pound.
I mean, I like watching you guys ride more than the men pros, just because I just think you
Yeah,
guys have just you. I don't know. I'm not gonna say more skill, but I
it's
don't, I
just
just I just enjoy watching you guys ride a little more, probably.
I mean, even Mariana, she's really old now, of course. I mean, she's at the end of her career almost, but she's been my idol since I started this sport. And then when I saw myself next to her with the same height, and then that's where she stayed, and I think that's where I'm staying. I'm 17, I'm 5'2", and everyone makes fun of me because like they're asking me like, "Do you shrink because of the time?" And it's just but I think being small is a very high advantage in the BMX side and the track, the skills. You learn how to control your bike more. So I think it's a very, and that's how you just group yourself going into a certain, you're really tiny, and it has that's how they not see you. So
So you think that applies to the men riders also?
no, I think it's different. Different. I think it should be the opposite. I feel like it's the opposite. If you're tiny, then you gotta, work double, I think.
Right.
So,
Right.
mhm.
I mean, I asked that because I'm usually smaller than most of the guys in my class. All these guys tower over me. They're way bigger and stronger, and it's like I'm trying to fight with them, and it's like it's hard.
Yeah.
So, are you on a pro size bike or
I mean, right now I'm on a Pro XL bike.
okay?
So I'm seeing if I can get a double XL, even though I'm tiny. I'm trying to get like when you're on the pro side level, you tend to like actually stretch more your body, and then just because of the first jump, and then many like since it's more jumping rather than manually,
Mhm.
you do need like to like stand more your arms and legs. So I think a double XL, I mean a double, yeah,
Double XL.
double Pro XL. But right now I'm still on Pro XL bike, which is not bad.
What have you ever considered riding like an expert size bike, like an expert XL?
Mm-mm.
All right. And like maybe some of the, I mean, just because you guys are lighter and you probably can, meet the requirements of like some expert parts, maybe expert wheel sets or expert frames, just because they're a little lighter. And I,
Yeah, it depends. Some people like really light bikes. Some people like more of a heavier to have more balance in their bikes. It all depends. I'm like sitting in the middle. I mix my bikes with like things that have to be, heavy, and then the other ones that have to be light, like carbon rims, your carbon forks, and yeah, that's how we balance our bikes.
Do you do your own? Do you do your own maintenance?
No, I just ride I just ride the bike. My dad is my maintenance guy, so he's always checking on it.
Okay.
My concerns every single time. That's what I do it every single time before the race.
Mhm.
I check my bike every single time, and it's like I go do my warm up. I take 5 minutes for myself and I check how my brakes are, if if the pressure on my tire is good, if my chain is well, and then that should be something that every single rider should do.
Also, one thing I noticed too is people will check their tire pressure like every day when they race. Is that something that you do?
Yes, every day before even practices, even if it's for 1 hour practice, you gotta check your pressure. And I always keep mine high over a little bit higher than 80.
Okay.
But we all have our differences. Some people like 70s, other like 60s, pressure. So
Right.
mhm.
do you adjust your pressure according to the track you're riding
No,
sometimes, or the weather? Maybe if it's wet, you maybe.
no, I think I just ride the same. It all depends on how you ride on the track. Basically, I don't think the bike has to do something with it, in my opinion.
So
Do you?
then, I'll go ahead.
And I was gonna say, do you have issues riding in the rain or riding after it's rained?
I think it's all mental when it comes to rain, because like you don't know if you're gonna crash, you don't know if you're gonna flip the gate or slip in the turn. So, uh, but I don't really have a problem with it. Just in the turns, that's where I gotta be careful on. That's the only thing I focus on. I just don't go low, just stay in a very moderate angle. So, mhm, yeah.
When you're training for a national, does your diet stay the same as it normally is, or do you change it up going into a national?
It stays the same. Probably going into the national, like the last week, that's where I change a couple of things. Maybe in the track, I just do some light workout, done some light work, like couple of gates. I don't really do a lot of skills, because doing work, working so much on your skills can lead up to many consequences. You might crash.
Right.
And but I do work on some light stuff. And when it comes to workouts, yeah, I do light off myself. I don't do weights, just stuff that will keep my body active, like running, maybe just doing some stretches every day. Yeah,
So
Okay.
no gym for you.
I do gym.
All right, I thought you said no, but no weights though.
No weights, like no carrying your body with so much weight, like squats or trying to
Okay.
get your max in the week of
That
racing.
was when the week of training. Okay, the week of racing. But you do go to the gym and lift weights when you're not going into a national though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what about your gearing? Do you change your gearing at all, or do you keep it the same?
Like, do I change jerseys or?
I
No,
know,
no,
like you're like, go ahead.
like the sprocket on your, like if most people run a 44-16,
Oh,
you
their
just
ears.
do you?
Okay.
Yeah, no, 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 not that.
Uh, I used to, but now I just keep it the same. I've been riding the same one for since I was 12, so I'm used to it, which is a 44-16, and I'm I cannot switch it every single time, because it takes me a minute to like get used to it, and then finding my rhythm to it. And actually, for Rock Hill, I had to change it like 2 weeks before that, because I wasn't feeling, comfortable with the one I had, which was so much lighter. It required more pedaling,
Right.
and yeah, it required more pedaling, and I wasn't gaining any speed. So for this one that I'm on, it's so much better, especially for the big hills one. So I'm happy with it. But I don't change my gears at all.
So let me ask you this: how long before a race, like just say if you got a new bike, I mean, you
Mhm.
wouldn't get a new bike a week before a big race and race it, would you? Like, how long would it take you to get accustomed to that bike?
Probably like a month, less than that. If I'm, constantly riding every single day, probably like maximum of 2 weeks, But it shouldn't take that long to get used to a new bike.
So it would be okay to get a brand new bike right now and to head to Grands with that bike.
No. So a good decision to make. But I mean, if the opportunity shows, if they're like, okay, we're gonna give you a new bike, then yeah, I'm happy with it.
Right, right.
Go ahead.
And so what about adjustments on your bike? Like how long before a race, like would you, or like, what's the window of not making adjustments? I mean, the reason I'm asking that is because Grands last year, I ran clip pedals for the maybe 5 months leading up to Grands.
Mhm,
And something, I don't know, just something told me to adjust the pedals just a little bit. I'm talking about the cleats on my shoes.
mhm,
And I just probably moved them over maybe just a couple of millimeters. I swear it wasn't much at all, but I was just having issues clipping in the whole weekend. And it was just scary because I get up to the gate. You only have a few seconds to clip in and get ready. And I
mhm.
just could not get my left pedal in at all, like every time. And before that, I never had an issue. So I definitely suggest people don't do that. And I was just wondering how long it takes to like adjust to, a change in your bike. I mean, everybody's different, I'm sure, but I was just,
I personally probably like a week before I check my stuff. And then I hate going to the maintenance during race days because it just messes with my head. I don't know. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna have enough time for warm up. But before I do it before nationals, probably like a week or days before. That's where I check everything if everything's fine. And of course, if you feel something, like a concern about your clip shoes are not, strong enough, then I might just adjust that. Or if my chain is also, but changing parts, that's what I'm talking about mostly. Is where I don't do it. But adjusting, that should be like a daily thing, especially right before really big races. So
I think I've only heard like one other rider talk about that, saying that I think that was KJ Romero that we talked to. He said that he checks his bike before every lap, and most don't. I volunteer at the track, and so I open up the track sometimes for the clinics, and so
yeah.
I would ride the track just to make sure the track is safe. I
Mhm.
find chainring bolts in the corners all the time, and it just blows my mind that people are losing chainring bolts in the corners. It's like, what are
But
you
then you
doing,
never
man?
hear nobody say that they lost one, right?
No, but I've seen people wire tie their chain rings to their cranks, because they lost a bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, at a national, I'm talking about,
Um,
but yeah, I was,
jeez.
yeah, that's a good idea to check your bike before you got to get on it and go 90 miles an hour around freaking turns. And
Yeah.
Do you have a problem eating the day of the national?
Yeah. I cannot eat during race days. I have to wait the whole day and then finally eat.
Wow.
So even in the mornings, I cannot, have my body full. It's like since I have anxiety with food, it's like if I eat, I'll eat a lot in that moment, and then that will
Mm,
be.
ready to go to bed. That's how I feel.
Yeah. So before, in the morning, something light, something like a coffee with some, like a sandwich, something. You don't gotta be a full meal. And then if I gotta keep my body, with something on if I gotta keep my stomach with something during the race,
Mhm.
probably like fruit is very good. Eating fruit, it's like my hungry killer. So bananas, strawberries, something. But after the races, that's when I actually,
Right.
I have peace. I got time to just, feed myself with something, and I'm not worried about anything.
so, but when you turn pro, your whole schedule is going to change as far as like nationals. You're going to be on a schedule,
Yeah, and
that's going to be nice, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. During Rock Hill, I didn't eat anything all day because of the times, because we
Oh
get
yeah.
so it's like first round is at 9, then your second round is at 10:15. So and that's always like, and then when it starts getting closer to the main events, it gets shorter. And if you got quarters, even more short. You got 20 minutes to your next, quarters. You got 15 minutes to your semis, and you got 30 minutes to your main event. That's how it is. So you don't really got time to like go ahead and then wait in line to your, your food and then eat. So it changes. I mean, if I'm on the amateur schedule, then you do have the time, because if you make it out of first round, you got the whole day after that.
Right.
But I haven't, since I'm not really into that anymore. Probably for the next year, I'm not going to be racing any, amateur races. That changes for me.
Right.
So what schedule would you prefer? Would you prefer the longer day or just a shorter day, get everything in and get out of there?
But you see all these pros riders leave early of the national. You're like, man, I wish I could, be heading to the hotel right now. It
Yep.
has its advantages, but it also has its disadvantages. You gotta wake up extra early to go to your practices.
Yeah.
I remember Rock Hill, since like races starts at 8, you need to be at the track by 7:15. So everyone else was sleeping. You needed to head, you needed to head to practice, and then race after that. So it's like you gotta, make that effort of waking up 2 hours extra early, because if you have practice at 7, then you need to wake up at 6. You got your time to eat, your time to organize your stuff, head to the track, do your warm up, practice, and then race. But you're done early. So
What would you say your most memorable win has been so far?
2019, my rock and grands has been till this day my best, the best year I could say, because I that was a good year that I had, and I won the two main events. That was the biggest one I ever, so far that I've got. Mhm.
So what's the one race you wish you could do over?
Those two. Yeah, still every single time I get the chance, I look back at the videos and then the memories and then the moments and how I felt after I crossed the line in front. It was amazing. The support from everyone, and I mean, that's also a year that I could redone, before, because that was before COVID. So I think I had a good experience before everything changed.
Right.
When you're on the track, can you hear people like screaming for you, cheering for you? Can you hear the
Yeah,
announcer? Can you hear the
yeah.
announcer announcing, like, somebody's coming up on Cristodulo?
I'm laughing in the helmet while riding, so I do listen to that.
Do you talk when you race?
No, I don't. I don't. I can't. I don't think I can. I don't breathe. I don't think I breathe. I'm just, 5 seconds of no breathing, but I don't talk well. Nothing.
Okay, so then I guess I must be going a lot slower then, because if somebody's like right in front of me and I feel like I can catch them, I'm like, you better speed it up. Here I come.
Yeah, especially at locals, I'm talking the whole race, man. Like we
Right.
just have fun. At a national, I wouldn't freak people out doing that because I don't know everybody. But at a local where we know each other, I'm on the gate talking. I'm riding talking. It's just fun.
Oh, I'm doing it at national. I don't care. I get up in the gate and I'm literally like looking over. I'm like, y'all better bring your A game because I'm coming with the heat this round. And they just look at me like, yeah, okay. And I'm still way in the back when I'm. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have told y'all my plan. I might have been able to stay closer if y'all didn't know I was coming with the heat.
Yeah, the heat.
um. Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
I was gonna say, what is your favorite part of BMX?
Family, the feeling of being part of a family, your team, the people that support you, those little kids that come up to you for a high five or a fist or a good luck or a good job. That's the best. That's the best, most beautiful thing for me. Love being, going. I love getting to a track, going to my team, meeting everyone, saying hi to everyone, and then just it just feels amazing. I think the most beautiful part about BMX.
And what is your team?
My team is Houston racing team.
Okay.
I've been on it for over a year. I got on last year and this year. We're still deciding whether we want to do that for next year or not. We're still talking with my manager about what are the plans. So, but yeah.
Cool. One of the things that I have is, so I have this video here. Hopefully you can see it when I push it. So I just want to be able to make sure that you can actually see it. And I'm going to run it right now, and then we'll talk about it.
Super X ladies headed downtown. Cristodulo got a pretty good shot with this one. Shea going to try to get things going on. Panero, oh, he lost a couple right there. Oh, big pile up. Here we go for the top of the podium, though. Cristodulo and Shea going to try to work things out now. Second turn. There goes Shea. It's her birthday today. She says, come on, Grecia. Let me have a little bit as he goes down that 3 straightaway, bring him into that last turn, coming back at us. Cristodulo going to bring this one back home. She's got it on lock on the top spot. The birthday girl, Lachey, going to pick it up for the 2. She says, all right, I'll take the 2 on my birthday. K-Bike trying to...
So when she popped up in front of you before the last straight, did you feel like, oh crap? Or was you just like, I got it?
My first thought, not gonna lie, this was like the truth honest. My first thought was, oh my God, my dad is gonna kill me. That's be mad after this.
Because you left the door open in turn 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're very strict on that. Like, it has to be perfect. My dad is, it has to be everything perfect. So after I saw that, I was like, it's no longer a perfect race, I guess. But I didn't pressure about it. I knew what I had to do. I had the speed, and that's the reason why I pedaled the whole turn. I was not expecting it, of course, but those are the things you need to be ready. No matter where you are, how position you are, or you gotta be ready for it. I mean, it's BMX. You gotta expect everything. A single, an elbow, or someone pushing you up, or someone taking you out. You gotta expect it, and that's what BMX is about. It's spontaneously, it's random. So.
Yeah, you could tell, like, soon as you felt her, you got on the gas. You were like, oh, hell no. But you killed that rhythm section. That rhythm section is a lot harder than it used to be. But yeah, you flew through that. That's where you pulled her.
Yeah, I was really happy I had the speed. After I jumped, I was pedaling the whole turn, and then I was all the way in the outside, of course. So that's where she took advantage of going under. Yeah. So she was very smart for that. But after I jumped the first one, I felt with so much speed, I cleared it. I was really scared of not clearing it, because if I wouldn't have cleared it, I think she was gonna get the title. Yep. But I cleared it. That came out smooth, so I felt like even more smoother for the other 2 jumps and then the last manual.
Yeah, nice.
If I remember correctly, that Sunday the sun was like beaming in everybody's face. Mm-hmm. That was like crazy. Like, even with your like goggles on and everything, it was like you couldn't see nothing.
Actually, that started Saturday, because Saturday lots of pros riders were complaining about the sun because you couldn't see it because of the reflection.
Right.
The sun was on the other side, and going into the jumps, you can't see the lip on it.
Yeah.
And it was very risky, because you couldn't see anything on the first jump. It was crazy. You couldn't see, when you was going to go up and then land. So, and that's why for Sunday, they changed the schedule for an hour later because of this. So, yeah, it was, even with goggles, you couldn't see anything.
So who is your favorite amateur rider to watch?
Amateur rider to watch?
You can name one male, one female, and then pros also. Like, which pros do you like watching?
Amateur, I don't got a preference. I just watch them. Like, I guess I don't got a favorite to watch. I just know that, well, whenever I come, the races are coming up, I watch them. I have, I have my eyes on this. If there are 3 really fast guys, I have my eyes on 3 of them. But I don't got a favorite one to watch. I just know, oh, this one's gonna be a big one. They're all gonna go for it. Pros, my best ones are Joris Staude, Mariana. I really love the way they ride. It's amazing. That's how I push myself. I watch their races, and and also Joris, Mariana, and there's one more. Oh, Nick Kingman. Nick Kingman. Lately, he has been a little bit of injured, but the way he races, the way he stays calm during the races, and then whenever you look at pros, you just don't watch them in the track. You gotta see how they act after, or outside the track. And it's like, okay, well, if they're like this, I'm also gonna act like one of them, because that's your goal. It's becoming one of those, big pros. And yeah.
Right.
I mean, so normally when you go to the track, like I said, I go to the track. I mean, I'm nowhere near the level of what you guys race, but I mean, I have fun. I'm joking the whole time. I'm just all over the place walking. I'm not really taking it too serious. I mean, you guys have to, but do you have fun at the track? Do you like get a
I
little loose or
I organize my time. I get to the track, I say hi to everybody, couple of conversations here, but in the middle of it, I focus on my training. I don't talk to anybody. I don't make conversations. I could say hi to you or hey, how is it going? But when it's my time to go to the gate, I don't talk to anybody.
Wow.
And I do my sessions. Okay, I'm gonna do the first section is gonna be all my first straight and second. Then my second session is gonna be only gates, and my third sections are just skills. And no, during the last section, I just, talk to everybody. That's when I'm like, hey, you want to do second straight? Or hey, do you want to do a gate with me? Or how's it going? Or we're just gossiping. But I'm very strict on my practices. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason I asked that is because I noticed there was a pro rider. Matter of fact, it was Anthony Picardo. I mentioned this a few times because it just blew my mind. At Hardesty, it was, I forgot, it was some months ago, and it was him and Cam Wood battling it on the rhythm section, and Anthony Picardo just blew by him. And to blow by Cam Wood like that is just, I've never seen it before. And it blew my mind. So I kind of went back and I started looking at Anthony Picardo's Instagram. I started looking at his Facebook just to see like where he was mentally before that race, because he did so good. This dude was on like, those Lime bikes that you rent?
Oh, yeah.
Like throughout the city. So he's on those Lime bikes. He's riding it, jumping it, bunny hopping it, doing 360s. I mean, he's just like having fun, smiling the whole time. And then I went to some other guys. I went to Cam Wood's Instagram and a couple of other guys. Matter of fact, Cam Wood's right there, right? And they're serious. They're like, they got their bikes. They got their bags. They come in. They're not smiling. They're not really talking to anybody. And then here's Anthony Picardo over there, just like riding through the city and eating and just laughing. And just because I felt like he was just so loose during that time that he was able to perform a lot better than he normally would. Mm-hmm. And I heard a fighter say that also. It's like when you fight, you have to be loose. You can't be tense. And I think that could apply to BMX also,
Yeah, anything. I mean, my dad always says that when you're on the track, you race like a man, but outside, you also, back to your old self. You're a girl, you can paint your nails and all of this, but you get in the track, you're a man. You gotta race like one of them. You gotta show how aggressive you are. But at practices, besides of me being strict with my training, that's only inside. That's when I'm on the gate and nobody has to talk to me. But like riding around outside, I'm the most funniest person. People are laughing at me. I'm laughing at people. And then it's just, how I am. And then they respect that. They respect, okay, well, Gracie's training. You can talk to her later,
Right.
Yeah.
So do you have a coach?
No.
Is your dad your coach?
Yeah,
pretty much?
My brother, my coach. Yeah.
So has anybody came to them asking them to coach them because they seen how you are,
Yeah, they're especially kids. I'm currently, like this, like 2 little kids on my home track, but they get their time like the last hour of practices. That's where I give them my full attention. I get off my bike. I'm not riding around, and it's like, okay, it's me and you and me, So they get their time, but I've been teaching kids for, I'll say 4 years. But since I'm with nationals and then I'm training all the time, I don't have that consistency of only one kid. But that's my future plan. In the future, I want to have my own program where I teach kids at the track and also do them outside, activities, focusing on their nutrition. Okay, what workouts do you need to do, and build like a plan for this kid for a week. That's my future, you know, job, I'll say.
So as a coach, are you a lot like your dad was to you, like the way you are to the other kids? Do you tell the other little girls like you need to ride like a boy?
That's personal. I just feel because everyone has their own way of racing and then their
Yeah.
own way of riding.
Mhm.
I cannot, teach them how I ride because that would be impossible, And then I just tell them, beat you, build your own, your own phrases that will motivate you. And also, I do teach them about my experiences, about what my dad has told me in the past that helped me, and then it can help you too. So yeah, I'll say yeah.
What was the most I guess I'd say not difficult, but what's the one track that you were actually scared of? And how did you mentally get over it?
Let me think a little bit because I know.
Or maybe just one obstacle at a track that just
even an obstacle,
feared.
yeah.
I think it was the beginning of Houston when like all the jumps are very slippery, but like not slippery, I mean very lippy. The first jump you had to jump it, you couldn't bump it. Now you can do both of them, but like it was when Rockstar was just built. It was, a lot. There were lots of crashes. All the jumps were scary. You can hear the brakes, going on all day. And then I think that was one. I think like it was very mental. It was a lot of mental work because you were scared if you're gonna like jump it or not, if you're gonna crash. But I think that was the time where like I was actually scared of like the track.
So how do you deal with like being on the gate? You're set, you're ready to go. You think your moto's coming up any second. The motor before you, somebody crashes really bad. Now you're sitting at the gate for the next 10 minutes while they scrape this guy off the track or whatever. It's like how do you deal with that? I know at the Grands, I was sitting there and I got like just physically and mentally drained by just because the moto in front of two motos in front, a guy crashed. The moto in front crashed. I crashed in my moto, so the moto behind me, these guys were sitting there waiting for three guys to get scraped off the track. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you just like kind of just don't look over there, or you just like I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that because it's like it sucks being on the gate. You're all pumped up, ready to go. The adrenaline's going, and now it's like, all right, let's go, guys, let's go. Get in the gate. You get in the gate, and I was like, all right, hold on. It's like, geez, bro, come on. Like all the race got drained out of me. By the time the gate went, I was just like, I didn't even know why I was there. I'm like, am I racing? Like, what am I doing here?
Right.
I breathe. I gotta like check my breathing. I think breathe in and out because of the longer they say, you can feel your heart pumping, and it has happened. It has happened to me where like you feel your heart pumping because of the adrenaline, of course, like you said. But just breathe in. If you can just get out of the gate. Keep your body warm. So because a lot of riders will just sit there and then they lose all their energy. Some are yawning, and then
that was me.
Keeping that adrenaline, trying to keep it breathing. Do some stretch your arms, your shoulders, your legs, shake them off, and yeah, probably that's the better way to like deal with that kind of situations.
Think about that. Smart.
Yeah, I gotta keep that in mind.
I was like, because I was the total opposite. Like, especially if I know like my moto's coming, but I have time, I just go limp and I just like let everything just go down. And people walk by me and like you're ready to go to bed, and I'm like, I'm trying to save my energy. Like that's what like I'm trying not to use nothing, use it up in the gate. And then now that you say that, I'm like, maybe I should have probably just kept moving around.
So what is your routine between motos, like when you're on the amateur schedule, just say, and you transfer the first round, and now you have hours until the semis or quarters or whatever? Like you don't just sit around. I'm sure you keep moving, right? You keep stretching and
Yeah, I sometimes I just if it's a long national, then yeah, I just sit down. But if it's a short national, you gotta keep yourself awake because those nationals are draining now. So there's a lot of people going to sleep, and then by the time they gotta go race, they're yawning, they're tired, they don't want to race anymore. But first round, of course, you gotta warm up before it. Try to transfer. It doesn't gotta be like a main event. Then after that, you got your time to eat, keep your energy up, walk around. That's my routine. I just finish, I get dressed, back on my comfortable clothes. And then when I see myself, like draining and I'm not just feeling like myself, that's when I go walk around, get my bike, talk to people, be more social. And just before the races, you gotta get your mind back into, race focus, concentrate, ride around, and warm up and get ready for your like anything, your main event or your semi or your quarters.
so like just say on the weekend of a national, I know some of the pro men riders, after like on a Friday night, they'll go hang out and party. Some of them. Do the females do that also? Like, are some of the females known to go out and party? Like, you don't have to mention any names, of course.
All of that yet. This is my first time listening. I thought they would just go back in their hotels, rest, do some recovery, and then just be ready.
The ones
But
that are winning are.
um, I wouldn't do that in my opinion. But if that's how they are, then that's good for them. But I mean, it's a good way to like refresh your mind. I think some riders does it because they had a bad day of racing, and to forget about all that, and then feel better for the next day. They go out, you know. But yeah, it's not something bad, but it's also you gotta be careful what the decisions you make because you don't know what that could lead into. Um, but yeah, it helps a lot. I've done it, but not like partying, of course. I could just go, to a restaurant, celebrate with my family, and then, forget about what happened in the track and then just do it better the next day. Hmm.
Like, is your dad really hard on you when you don't do your best, or when he thinks that you should have done better? And how hard is he? Like, does
Just
he
that
like?
one. I think after the race is when you're still mad and upset about your race. Right after that, it's the moment when you gotta, shout it out loud what you did wrong, and then just accept what he's saying because he's also right. He saw the race, but after the race, once like you calm down, and I mean the race is done already, then you can just get back into your old self and then just forget about it. But you already learned your lessons. You already know what you're doing tomorrow, and then you already know what you're not doing tomorrow. So I think it's just that one moment where he's really hard on me. But then after that, we're laughing, forgetting about the moment,
Good, good.
doing other things. Like I said, going to, like going out to eat. And yeah.
So he switches the coach. The
Yeah.
coach takes the coach hat
Coach
off,
dad.
throws the dad hat on. Good,
Awesome.
good. You
Awesome.
can't be a coach all the time.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, that's how he is. I mean, during race days, during race, he he tells me, "Don't treat me like your dad. Treat me like I'm a coach." So you gotta listen to me. You just don't pretend I'm your dad because if I think like he's my dad or he's not gonna get mad, he doesn't care. Then that's how you don't get. That's how you don't have your mind on the race. So and then after the race is over, then you can treat me like a dad. Hey dad, how are you? How was your day? And that's how it is. That's how we are.
Right.
You've been doing this for a long time now.
Hmm.
Was there ever a point where you didn't want to do it anymore? You're just like, I quit, bro. Like, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, that was 2020 and 2021 were my hardest years ever. I've went through a lot, and yeah, I even got to a point where like I'm just gonna sell my bikes. I mean, this is not for me anymore. That was 2020 when I got second of both of my mains in grands. And then 2021, I barely made mains in grands. I got fifth. I didn't make it on the rock. And that was like, what is happening to me? I mean, I was training, of course, but nothing that I was doing was helping. So I went into the 2022, without any, motivation, just, thinking, okay, what's going to happen now? I was just feeling like, that maybe that was the end. But of course, nothing comes from one day to another, and I didn't give up. I'm still on the sport, and it's just about patience. I think it's all about patience. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, use it as your advantage to get better.
Have you played any other sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played soccer, swimming, volleyball,
Really?
and when I got here, I did the cross country and track
Okay.
and baseball.
I mean, how much do you
Wow.
think all of that's helped your BMX riding? I mean, just being that athletic,
I don't think nothing. I'm not a big fan of group sports. I'm more of an individual. So being part of those volleyball and soccer teams, it was not my thing. I mean, no one is thinking like me. So yeah,
Right. Right.
but just, I mean, I would just do them as a game because I was doing BMX at the same time because I didn't stop since rode, like I got in a bike as a 4-year-old. I'm still on it, and I was trying out different sports, but they were not something I wanted to switch to. It was just something maybe to keep my body active, to try something new and have fun with it. See how it will feel if I was part of a different, how other athletes athletes think. It's not just BMX and how we think. Maybe, swimming thinks differently. Maybe there's things that would help you from it. And yeah.
Nice. I mean, it sounds all well rounded right there.
So just say after this is all said and done, like, how do you want to be remembered?
I'm sorry.
After your BMX career is done with,
Yeah.
I mean, the riding part, I mean, you could always coach, whatever. Like, how do you want to be remembered? Like when people look back and be like, oh, I remember her.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, that's where I'm working on. I don't want to be forgotten, of course. I want to, stay on this sport as much as I can. And maybe with Olympics, if that's, I mean, that's my goal, that's my dream, being remembered from there would be awesome. Like Mariana, she's remembered from all her gold medals. And hopefully, with how I'm going, with the work I'm doing, with sacrifices I'm making, hopefully I get to that point in my life.
Have you ever had a chance to sit and talk with her?
Yeah, couple of
Really?
times during races, outside of races, we had a conversation how, we can, how she can help me on a
Really?
couple of things, on the mental side, on the BMX side. And,
Awesome.
That is awesome.
Right? That's pretty cool. Well, how often do you train though? It's like 5 times a week, 6 times a week.
um, I rarely have rest days. I Because the only reason I barely have them is because I train in the mornings,
Mhm.
so I have all day to rest. So, and then
Okay.
at night, that's when I go to the track, of course, like 6 to 7 or 6 to 8:30 when it comes to practice days. But I train in the mornings as early as I can. So I'm not a big, something before 8. So 6 to 8, or now my routine, it's about waking up at 6, about 5:30, starting my workouts at 6:15 and finishing them on at 7:30. Then I have the whole, day to rest, do my recovery. If I want to sleep, I can go to sleep. If I want to go, I can go out. But it's 5 times a week, and then weekends are just track days. I don't do any weights, I don't do any gym, but like 5 times a week, that's where I use gyms, the weights, and I do my workouts and stuff.
Do you prefer riding in the daytime or at night under the lights?
Both. I never really had a preference on like which time I prefer riding. I think they're both great. You know.
I just realized I like riding under the lights better than I like riding during the day. I don't know. It just hit me the other night. I'm like, I love this, man. You know, I'm there during the day sometimes also, but it's just at night for some reason. It's just a little different.
I said, being that you are 17, does this mean that you are in your senior year in high school? Or did you already graduate? Or
I already graduated. I graduated a year early.
oh
So
wow,
did junior and senior together. And right now I should be in college, but I'm taking a break because of how my schedule is looking like with BMX. It's lots of racing, and then lots of. If I was in college, I don't think I'll be, good at it because of the days I will be missing.
Mhm.
Because when you get to a pro level, you need to be at the track at least a week before to get to know
Right.
how the first jump is. The 8 meter hill is not something that you just go and then just throw yourself. If I was on the amateur side, I wouldn't worry about it. It's just a gate. It's only pretty sure you already know how it works. But for 8 meter hills, you do need time to get to know how it is and how it feels. So high school, high school was really hard, especially because I was doing 2 years in one. I did like lots of AP classes. I was getting out of school at 4:30 every day. It was very hard, but I'm really proud of how I ended in really good grades. I got a good GPA, got a GPA of 92.5.
Nice.
So I'm really happy. I'm really proud, and it was a big sacrifice. It was a big deal for me.
I
So.
was gonna say, was it harder for you to like focus on school with COVID going on and everything?
Oh yeah, very hard. I think just I mean there were days that I didn't even pay attention to, but that was back in my freshman year. Like so, it was very hard. But I went even during the COVID pandemic. I think during in my school they had the option of like being at the school or
Mhm.
being at your house. Even with all that, I was still going to the school. Maybe that
Wow.
would help me with staying focused,
Right.
but it was very hard to like concentrate. And I think the COVID also messed up my level in BMX. That's how my level went down, really down. And then that's when I was thinking of maybe quitting because
Right.
all the girls were getting faster except me, you know.
Why do you
Maybe,
think that was?
I mean, where I was living, it was in the city. You couldn't get out of your house no matter what. So, and I
Mm.
was living in a very tiny place where you couldn't even do a single workout. So maybe all the girls were, had the chance to do a sprint, or maybe they had the track time. But where I was living, it was impossible.
So did the track close down?
Yeah, all of
And
it.
so got you. Because we talked to other people, and there's some tracks that never closed down. You know, they would continue riding. They might not have raced, but they had the track open for some of the like more elite riders to come in and keep training. You know.
Yeah. See, I wish I had that experience, that those chances, but here it was
Yeah.
very impossible to get out. Like not even go to a park, do like a 1 mile run. You couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite movie?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Are we talking about with Clint Eastwood or the
Which
new version? Which
it's
one? Which version are we talking about?
it's a military related movie. It's
Right.
about this guy that joined the military,
Mhm.
but was a big, believer in God. So one of
Okay.
the rules that the men that they had was not killing,
Right.
and he didn't want to touch a gun. So he went through a lot of because he couldn't touch a gun, and he didn't want to touch a gun.
Right.
So it it was about sacrifices, about how he saved a lot of people without even killing a single person.
Wow.
Um, but
Right.
yeah, that's my favorite movie.
Nice. Okay. So, and what type of music do you listen to right now?
I'm more into the indie song, like Frank Ocean, Brent Fayez kind of songs. You know, yeah, I'm more into that.
Is that what pumps you up before a race?
Oh yeah, I do. It does. It does. Maybe I don't really listen to a lot of hyping like rap songs. I do, but it's not like an often thing. Then I do have my music, my Hispanic music, but that's just for partying or maybe just just for fun.
Right.
Do you have a favorite food?
All pastas, any pastas, big pasta girl. Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
That seems like one of the best like carb up appetites right there that people like to use before races or after
Yeah.
races.
Oh yeah, it's.
So I'm guessing Saturday night you're at Olive Garden.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Shannon, do you have anything else? I think we touched on everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything. I mean, we could go on forever. I swear.
Right,
Talking
right.
about bikes and
How did you
BMX.
guys started with this podcast? How was the
Basically me and Shannon were just sitting around and we were just sitting there like watching the pros. And we remember when we were young, we used to race too. And back when we were young, they had magazines and stuff where you get to like read the articles about your favorite, rider and everything. So with the technology and everything, we were like, we should just put together something that could touch on, getting you guys the light out there and to shine and get to know you, because honestly, you got a lot of fans out there. And you can sit there, like you said, pasta's your favorite thing. That might be that little girl who's like, oh my God, I love pasta too. Like, something that just makes you guys have that connection where she just feels like another reason to love you guys even more. So that was one of the reasons why we decided to do the podcast and basically just, put a light on you guys and help you guys promote whatever you guys need to promote. So if you guys have a product or anything like that, we can throw it on there as well. And just bring more awareness to an awesome sport.
awesome. That's really
Is that about right, Shannon? You want to add on anything?
What can I add to that?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what we put together.
That's nice. Yeah, it's that's awesome that you guys started this. I mean, I didn't know, and they need to start doing more of this. I think they got coffee chatter, but they don't do this as much often as us, BMX riders would love to, especially because we want this sport to we want it to become bigger, and we gotta find a way to like make it as big as motorcycle or motocross. So, and doing this, podcast, getting to know athletes and especially pros, it helps, not only us but also the little kids. So,
Right.
it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to have you back on next year because we want to know how your first year in pro goes right before Grands to see how you're feeling, how you've excelled from here.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
Anything else, Shannon, or are we good?
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you
We're
so
good.
much.
Thank you for your time.
For the opportunity. I'm very thankful, very happy with this. Yeah.
All right. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. I'll see you.
All right. Bye.